Hello, Panther fans. Timmy V.O. here with the Panther Comms Podcast. Week 8, Monday in the box. And thank you so much for checking out the Panther Comms Podcast. So, what did I see? You know, Jake Delhomme said it best, I think. It pretty much summed up the whole day. It looked like a team that was fresh versus a team that was tired. The Buffalo Bills, ladies and gentlemen, if you didn't know, the Buffalo Bills are now 9-1 off of a bye week. And if you're a Carolina Panthers fan like I am, and if you're not, it's something that you can take with you. The Carolina Panthers have historically been bad off of a bye week. I just find that funny, due to McDermott and their OC coming from the Carolina Panther ranks. I just find that funny. But yeah, this is a Buffalo Bills team. Will that have he's probably number 1 in the league in rushing now. Number 4 rusher in the NFL with fresh legs. Going up against a defense that normally is able to line up and punch people in the face when it comes to running the football. And Joe Brady figured us out. Every defense has a weakness. But for one to be able to continuously hit that weakness over and over and over and over again. Sorry, I didn't mean to sound like Marshawn. It's telling. Dave Canales was taken out of his game. Now, I think the offense as a whole was. You already have your second string coming in. The cadence is different. This is game time for Andy. He's leading a offense that everybody on the offense, all 10 players, beside himself, have weeks of experience. Real-time game reps. Andy did not. Does that mean that he needs to turn the ball over? 3 times, I believe? No. We were in the red zone when he fumbled that first time and that first turnover. And I really think that could have changed the entire scope of the game. Looking at the statistics, clearly we were, it was 3-0 at the end of the first quarter. Unfortunately, we already turned the ball over. And again, you come into the fact that the Buffalo Bills were able to run with reckless abandonment. Well, there you go. Can't stop a Buffalo Bills team that can run the football like that. Especially when you don't have an offense to counter that movement. And we didn't have the tools. My strategic output in this game, just me personally, I definitely would have went to our receivers a lot more. Now, I believe Andy was sacked 6 or 7 times. I'm sorry, I don't have the statistics in front of me. I just want to come in here and chat real quick. I have an AI task set up where I get everything I need through ChatGPT. So I'm just waiting on that. It hits at 4:30. But I just want to come on here and chit chat real quick before I get into the nuts and bolts. Running the ball would have been great. And the main reason, if you look back at the first 2 games, the first 2 weeks especially, when it came to our offense, the reason why we could not get the ball going on the ground was due to the fact we were playing from behind. Now, when I mentioned earlier a few seconds ago about spreading this defense out and really attacking their DBs, it's hard to do when your quarterback is getting sacked and not getting rid of the football and underthrowing and throwing behind, and it was really unfortunate. It's unfortunate that Andy had to go up against a McDermott defense and a playoff caliber. It's night and day, folks. You guys are wondering what a playoff team looks like. Well, there you go. The Patriots have a good defense, but the reason why they got off on us was because of the special team situation and playing from behind. The Buffalo Bills are the Buffalo Bills. Josh, again, as a quarterback, really didn't do that much. I believe he had less than 100. I mean, he had less than 200 yards in this game. And I was really hoping that we would be able to corral him and make him throw from the pocket, make him uncomfortable. He can run lateral all day long, but eventually we're going to catch up with him. Shout out to Nick Scorton and that defensive pressure that was on him early. But man, Cook was cooking, and it was really sad to see. It was. Going through the social media world before I came on to record, I saw some TikTokers talking about, and they were at the game, and they were talking about, it was like a 50-1 ratio, talking about Bills fans to Panther fans. Man, and just a heads up, ladies and gentlemen, it's going to be that way. It's going to be that way for a while because, the owner of this franchise put us in a situation where there's a lot of distrust and people aren't necessarily keen on, spending quite a bit of money, mind you, to support a team that has an owner that doesn't care about the players, who doesn't care about winning. He finally made good choices. Dan Morgan, Canales, in my opinion, Bryce Young, that showed up today too, mind you. Bryce Young and Rhythm would have ripped them apart. Just based on what, Ted was doing. Ted Arota was doing. I'm sorry, I keep calling him Ted. My fault, bro. What T-Mac was doing. And Coker was flashing. Unfortunately, Jimmy got dinged up a little bit. Yeah, that one play that Andy hit him on that deep out. Oh man, I believe, if I'm not mistaken, I believe that was the same route that he ran on that fourth down play against Dallas. And Andy just missed him. If he hits him in stride, he beat his man so bad. He beat his man so bad. I don't know why defense want to play Jimmy one-on-one, and man, you're crazy. He beat his man so bad. If Andy would have put that out in front of him and he could have caught that in stride, he's taking it to the house. There was nobody else over there. And he just it's just unfortunate. It was a really bad day. Even special teams. I mean, Fitzgerald missed 2. I mean, come on. You don't want to have a bad day against a good team because it'll look like it is, which is a 40 burger. But yeah, Panther fans, football fans. Wow. Whenever you turn over the football, ladies and gentlemen, you put yourself in a situation. That goes without saying. All 3 phases of our team are at fault today. We went up against a team that was fresh, so to say, coming off of a bye week. Now they're 9-1 coming off of bye weeks, by the way, under McDermott. Just put that out there. If you go off of statistics, that's a really high percentage. But we were in the game early. It was 3-0 at the end of the first quarter, and then the floodgates opened up. We could not stop the run. Toss, screen, right? Whether it was a wide receiver screen, whatever. But man, it was just a couple of miscues, and that's all it takes for a good team to expose you. One play in particular, when Cook had that really long run that kind of came off of a double counter almost. It was a counter, but the fullback came through and met Wallace. And Wallace had he was more outside shoulder, right? So the fullback went wide in the gap, okay, and Cook came in behind him, and for some reason, number 7 Murray was still kind of floating to the outside and not coming tight in the gap area, and make it so he can make the play, so he'd be kind of squared up with Cook, as opposed to being on the outside and trying to come back and make the play, because when he trying to plant and come back out and make the play, or come back inside and make the play, he slipped. And That's all it took. He was the only person available to keep that from happening, and he floated on his assignment. He floated to the outside instead of coming like a tight crease to the play, to the area where the running back's coming through and make the play. Man, he would have lit him up. Now, we had a lot of players dinged up in this game, and it is really unfortunate because we're getting ready to go to Green Bay. Oh my God, we're getting ready to go to Green Bay, ladies and gentlemen. So, the Panthers lost 40-9. The Buffalo Bills, dropped 16 on us in the second quarter. Then they skunked us, as some people say. If you know what that means, it could be basketball, it could be whatever. It's 21-0. They won the toss. The Bills won the toss, and I was like, well, we get the ball first, so maybe we can do something. Their run defense is not all that. Yes, they got some of their key players back on the front. That showed up today. But overall, you don't get that bad and add 2 players and then just become, boom, this great defensive. Well, apparently so. Apparently so. Now, and again, we gave them, 3 additional opportunities outside of punting the ball. And they took advantage of that. Then we finally got a touchdown in the fourth quarter. What we do? And again, Fitzgerald missed it. Yeah, that's the situation. Now let's dive deeper into the statistics here. And thank you again, ladies and gentlemen, for checking out the Panther Comms Podcast. If you haven't subscribed to my YouTube channel, please do. If you're not following me on on TikTok, please do. I get to get a little more creative in terms of my presentation on those platforms. But I'm a professional voiceover talent and sound engineer by trade, so I really have a good time doing this. So let me pull up these stats real quick from my email. And, of course, if you have any questions or comments, feel free to jump in there, drop some questions or whatnot. All right, so obviously the Buffalo Bills were meticulous with their drives. In the first quarter, they had an 11-play, 49-yard drive, and that wound up being a field goal. Our defense showed up on that. I was really happy about that. That showed promise. And, when you have that many Bills fans in your house, so to say, the best thing you can do is shut them up. You have all those Panther fans in the stands with these folks. Give them a reason to cheer for you. We really could have used that. But yeah, that was a great showing. The first drive for the Bills, resulted in a field goal. 5 minutes, 11 plays, 49 yards. Okay, it was well managed by the defense for the most part. But again, Cook was getting 7 yards, 8 yards, 12 yards, 15. Coming back with another 6, 7. His average was crazy, right? And the play where Andy had that fumble, I don't know why he's trying to scramble like he's Bryce. He should just toss that bad boy out of bounds, a couple of times, especially at the end of the half. Toss that bad boy in the back of the end zone so we can stop the clock, so we can actually make a field goal. Anyway, but yeah, that drive where Andy fumbled. I mean, we had 7 plays, 51 yards. We started at our own 29. We were moving the ball. It looked promising. He was hitting T-Mac. Dowdle was getting some yards. And yes, Dowdle needs more touches. I don't even know why he's playing. It is so obvious that Dowdle is just a more explosive running back. Yes, they have similar styles of running, but Rico's he's just more of a polished runner. I'm sorry, his explosiveness is uncanny in comparison to. Okay. But yeah, that was really unfortunate because we were really moving that ball. Okay. So, but yeah, Josh Allen really didn't do much in terms of passing. 12 of 19, 63 percentage. He only averaged 8.58 per pass. He had a pick, but he had zero turnovers. Not one. No fumbles, no picks. Okay. Jay Cook, 19 attempts, 216 yards rushing, and 2 touchdowns. And the Allen also had 2 touchdowns. It's crazy. But yeah, Cook was averaging 11.4 per carry. He had a 64-yarder. That was the play what I mentioned about Morag, not having him squared up in the gap there where you can make a play. Yeah. But yeah, their run game is definitely why they built the ass in Bank of America. Okay. But yeah, going to the passing, well, I should say the receiving category for the Buffalo Bills, Shakir had 88 yards, 7 targets. He had a 54-yarder. Yeah. Yeah. It's unfortunate. Coleman had 30 yards, 3 receptions off of 4 targets. I mean, again, they didn't necessarily kill us with the passing game. That was manageable. You didn't have anybody with 100 yards receiving. Tetaroa had, I believe he had 100 yards, almost 100 yards by himself. Yeah, so again, clearly the run game is why Buffalo pulled this off in our turnovers, and their ability to get to Andy. Sacks, I'm just going to count them up for Buffalo. 1, 2, 3, 4.5. That's 5. I think I'm missing one. I think it's 6. Because Anish on the radio mentioned 6. So 1, 2, 3, 4.5, 5. Yeah. No, 7. They had 7 sacks. 7 sacks for Buffalo. No, you can't get that pass rush off of you, one, if you're playing from behind. You're in obvious passing downs, especially against McDermott with all that playoff experience and that type of continuity within his defense and getting these fresh legs out there. On top of the fact that, you're obvious. There is no way you can cloak what you're going to do, which is one of the reasons I wish, again, that's just me, I wish Canales would have went, those split sets, not split sets, excuse me, those 3, 4, 5 wide situations, a lot more 11 personnel instead of 12. And that's one running back, 1 tight end, and doing something with that. And man, I mean, people just kept getting dinged up. I was seeing a lot of our players, oddly enough, slipping on the turf. I'm not going to get into that again. This is another reminder on how invested these. Anyway, but yeah, Buffalo put belt to butt. All right, and I'm gonna go to the Panthers statistics and close this out. Because, I mean, there's not much to talk about. Andy was 16 of 24, 175, 66.7 completion percentage, 7.29 average per throw, and with a pick. Rico, even though he didn't run the ball much, he had a 6.8 average. He needs a ball coach. Just it's obvious. Chuba's not even. Oh my gosh, I mean, he had a touchdown. His first rushing touchdown of the season, mind you. He had 2 passing coming into this game, or receiving, excuse me. But Rico's clearly the better running back. I'm sorry. I'm sorry. We leaned on Chuba. He put up over 2,000 yards over the past 2 seasons. He didn't even finish out the season last year. I think he had surgery or whatnot, or he was injured. I know that. But yeah, it's really unfortunate. I mean, Chuba's a great guy, great locker room person. But yeah, Tetaroa, going to the receiving portion here. Tetaroa had 10 targets, 7 catches, 99 yards. We should have went 4 receiver, 5 receiver sets, a lot more in this game. But we really should have. We really should have. Get McDermott out of his game, because he knew we were going to try to run it anyway. It was almost a paper tiger situation, but the tiger wound up being real. But yeah, Jalen Coker, welcome back, Jay. 4 targets. This is what we expect from Jalen Coker. 4 targets, 3 catches. All right, 36 yards. JT Sanders had 3. He was 3 of 3, 19 yards. Xavier only had 3 targets, but he had 2 catches. I really wish he would. His field awareness is what's really bugging me. It's not just today with the, he didn't realize he was that close to the sideline, so he stepped out and he got hit with that penalty. It's understanding where the marker is in relation to how the defender is playing you. It's sitting in a zone as opposed to just floating around, running just to be running. Just simple things like that. That holding call they called on him was BS. It was BS, and he should have kept moving his feet. When your defender tries to disengage with you, you move your feet with them. That's how you negate the whole holding call thing. Again, headsy things you should start to really be clicking with in your second year as a pro, because this is all you do. Okay. But yeah, Andy had 2 fumbles. It's really unfortunate. One was, again, that really, really untimely fumble. That was really deflating. And again, it was like a Bills home game when that happened too. It was crazy. Let's talk about defense real quick, and I'll let you guys. Cool about your Monday. Roseboom, 12 total tackles, 7 solo, 2 tackles for a loss. He was flying around out there. And a pass deflection, mind you. Okay. Nick Scott, 8 total tackles, 5 solo. He had a pretty good hit on Josh, but he also got burned too. One of the reasons why old boy got behind you on that touchdown. Mr. Wallace, I hope you recoup soon. He was taken out for a concussion. 7 total tackles, 5 solo, 1 sack, and 1 tackle for a loss. Guys are flying around. Scorton, 5 tackles, 2 solo, half sack. Murray, he should have had 5 total. At least you should have 5 total, and you only had 1 solo. It should have been 2, because he was a safety valve on that big Cook run. Wharton, 4 total, so on and so forth. Robinson had half a sack. You notice I haven't said 2 names: Derek Brown and J.C. Horn. All right, here we go. Yeah. J.C. only had 3 tackles and 2 solo, and he was nowhere to be found in any passing category. None. No deflections, no nothing. They literally went away from him. Literally. I'll dive into more details when I do my film breakdown. You can catch that on my YouTube channel, and hopefully you'll subscribe, and I'll thank you for it. Or and again, folks, I don't get paid for this. I just like engaging with like-minded individuals. But yeah, you can catch that on YouTube Shorts to be specific, and TikTok. But yeah, Derek Brown only had 1 tackle, ladies and gentlemen, and it was, I think, what? Yeah, he had 1 tackle. Gosh, this was a very ugly game. And again, just to reiterate, folks, this is why you don't take anything for granted, obviously, especially when it comes to taking care of the football. I know a lot of us Panther fans were expecting Andy to get that ball out to these big receivers and get Buffalo out of their run defense mindset, because everybody in the mama knew we want to try them. But we didn't do that. When we did do it, we were in obvious situations and, dial it up. That's why Andy got hit so much. Man. And disappointment is what it is. Luckily, we're middle of the season. We played Green Bay in Green Bay. And hopefully we'll have an offensive line when we get into Green Bay. Wow. A lot of offensive linemen are dinged up. Brown was, I think that was more of a scare when Derek Brown went down. He grabbed that knee. I think that was more of a scare, and they just pulled him. I mean, we've already given up. I think we were close to giving up 40, if not already. So there was no need to keep him out there. But man, our offensive line is thin, and this happens to be right when we get our wide receivers back healthy again. The big three, that is, Teteroa, XL, and Coker. It's really unfortunate. And we got 2 healthy running backs now, especially Rico. He's not cramping up. But yeah, it is what it is, folks. Take it with a grain of salt. Buffalo came, they conquered. Hopefully this team will learn the lesson that, you got a long way to go. You're doing better than you did last year, but you have a long way to go. Embrace that. Get better. Keep pounding. That's the whole point. That team has to rely on each phase, and they have to rely on each other. That's extremely important. You can't throw the ball if you can't run the ball. You can't run the ball if you can't throw the ball. A balanced approach would have beaten this Buffalo team. I have no doubt about that. Evero's going to have to figure out some things when it comes to toss plays, toss runs, getting out there on the edge. We're going to have to figure some things out. Is it talent related? Yeah. I'm not quite sure how many of you Panther fans remember back when Luke was playing. Those teams would try those toss plays, try to get those zone extended run plays in the 7 area, 5-7s. He come flying through that gap because he knew he'll come flying in that bad boy because that edge was set. Charles was set that edge. Whoever, that edge was set, and that running back put the foot in the ground and go vertical. And here comes Luke, or that he gets there before they even get a chance to. That's what we miss, that type of instinct and that type of aggressiveness. That's hurting us. I definitely see Dan Morgan. I'm not sure he's going to make a trade. I think he wants to keep the money where it is, and just make moves in the offseason because they've really been hitting on young players. I mean, that's obvious. We're looking at that right now in real time. Dan's going to pull some. He's going to pull some young talent, either out of the draft or somewhere. And this linebacker core is going to be deep next year. I got a good feeling about that. But right now we're still growing. Canales has these boys playing, but unfortunately, you can't beat a team like the Bills, playing dirty ball. You got to clean that up. Thanks, ladies and gentlemen, for checking out the Panther Comms Podcast with your host, Timmy V.O. Take it with a grain of salt, folks. It's the Bills. It's not like we lost to Atlanta. Didn't Atlanta lose to... But anyway, enjoy your Monday, ladies and gentlemen. And always, always, always thank you so much for checking out the Panther Comms Podcast. Make sure you subscribe to this podcast and YouTube and all the good stuff so we can interact. And, I try to keep it real with you, and I try to keep it light. I'm positive, but, I understand the negative, but I try to stay positive because that's what keep pounding means. Right on. Take it easy, folks. And as always, keep pounding.